What's up, guys? Welcome to Sharpen Your Sword podcast, episode number 15. Guys, thank you guys for the support. Thank you for the shares, the comments, the likes. Like always, we appreciate you guys so much. And like always, guys, please subscribe to our YouTube and share us on social media because you will help us get into our algorithm, and that will help us keep giving you guys more value. On today's episode, we are going to dive deep into what it takes to start up your own business, to work for yourself, to be an entrepreneur, and start from the bottom, where they say start from the bottom, start from the ground, from the clean sheet, and the realities behind it, the dark side, the beautiful side, and everything that comes along with it. And like always, I have my co-host, the number one co-host in the world, Giovanni Jimenez, to help us get through it all. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and let me know when you watch this. Right, Mr. Gio?
That's right. So this is something that we were discussing about this yesterday, right? But like small business owners. And then how, especially right now in this economy, things have gotten slowed down, right? Mm-hmm. And then like how some people kind of embrace the mindset where it's kind of like, well, I guess this is just, I don't know, they kind of, in a way, kind of giving up in a way, or like not fully like believing or in the system or their business, or not like going head first into the business. Mm-hmm. Now they start looking for like alternatives. Mm-hmm. And we're talking about how you mentioned that when things get like that, like you have to just like sacrifice so much. And that was very interesting because obviously in entrepreneurship, at least on social media, you never hear that. You just hear about the beautiful side of it, like the rewards, but you never hear about emphasizing about the starting up, right? And that's what we're gonna talk about today, and like that side of it, which you're gonna go into. I don't want to talk too much about it because I know you're about to go into it, but that side of it.
Yeah, man. So the biggest thing that we see from this is, well, the proof is always in the pudding, and the water always gets purified in a way when it gets tough, okay? Because everybody's on social media, posting in their jet, posting, posting the money, posting the cars, posting all this. Everybody's an entrepreneur at that moment. When times are good, everybody's self-made. Everybody is an entrepreneur. Everybody, started from the trenches. Everybody's, started eating, barely eating any food. They skipped meals. Everybody has the same story. Every entrepreneur has the same story. Yeah. Right? So when it's good, when business is good, when the economy is good and everything's going good, you have so much of that. Now, when we're in the situation that we're in now, the economy is coming down. Are you a real entrepreneur? Okay, some people are going to get hurt by this. Or are you really self-made, or are you really self-employed? When it gets hard, you start quitting. Right? And that's what we're seeing now. A lot of people are caving in. The pressure of owning a business, the pressure of being employed for yourself, the pressure of having to come up with money. When you work for somebody, you just get paid. Yeah. Okay? But when you have to make the money, one way or another, you have to find a way to make the money. When the economy gets bad, your mind starts playing games on you. You start overthinking it, like, dude, I haven't made money in a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I missed this bill. We're not eating the way we see. We're not traveling the way we used to travel. We don't have the cars that we have. Or am I going to keep my house? Am I going to keep my car? Yeah. Am I going to be able to buy the clothes? Am I going to be able to go out with my friends every day like I used to? You know what I'm saying? So all these thoughts start coming into your head. And a lot of times, the people that don't have enough experience in it, or the people that didn't really go through the trenches, so I like to say really sit in the trenches a long time, the ones that barely were in there, they are the ones that start folding. They're the ones that are going to start saying, well, let me go get a second job. Let me get a part-time job. Let me get this. And here's the thing. There's nothing wrong with that, right? On today's show, we're going to talk about both sides of it. We're going to talk about the reality, the behind the scenes that you don't see. Yeah. Okay? That's what we're here to talk about. We're just here to almost expose it, right? Expose it for more people to hear about and see about, instead of being lied to on the guy on Instagram that's a business guru that's in a Lamborghini.
Yeah.
Okay, and he probably rented that. Most of these guys I heard somewhere like on the West Coast, you can rent like to get in a plane, a jet, private jet, take pictures and all that, and post it to your Instagram.
Really? That's hilarious.
I forgot who it was telling me, but I think it was Ben or somebody else telling me like you can go and just rent that plane for an hour just to take pictures in it and act like you're a business guru. Now, does it work? Yeah, it works. But are these guys really self-made? Are these guys really entrepreneurs? I don't know.
Yeah.
Because when the times get tough like this, they can't pay that $250 to get that jet rental.
Dang.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To just take pictures in it. So that's what we're going to go into today.
And so that is very interesting, right? Because there's so many. Because the reason they do that people get on the jets, that people get and the flex in Lamborghini because it's shiny. And we're humans. We're try to get the shiny things, but they do it because they want to get your attention, and they're selling you at the end of the day. You know, all these guys, they're selling a course, they're selling like a mastermind, they're selling something where they promise riches. You know, that's how these guys are doing it. And so a lot of people, that's what they see in social media. You know, I remember when I was a young teenager, I started like getting into first finance and then led into entrepreneurship. There's so many fake people out there, right? But that's what attracts you, and that's all you think about. Mm-hmm. All you think about is, dang, business. I'm gonna be loaded. Business. I'm gonna have my own hours. Business. Can't nobody tell me what to do. Business. It's my rules. It's like it's all like literally just sunshine and rainbow. That's all you imagine. Like there's no downside. Mm-hmm. And you hear people too like, oh, I wish I had my own business because then I would have to work less hours. Then I have less stress, you know? But I remember I heard this entrepreneur say, it was like, if you want peace of mind, if you want to live a calm life, if you want to just chill and have a business, that's as if you saying, I'm going to have a baby so I can relax.
Wow.
Like that baby is going to take up all of your attention.
Yep.
So it's not at all, right? So that's what I wanted to talk to you about, like the misconceptions, like the way people imagine entrepreneurship, right? And the way social media portrays successful entrepreneurship, but that's not everybody. That's such a small percentage. And then the realities that is entrepreneurship and how it's not all success, it's not all glitters, and how like all the relentless pursuit that it takes when you have your business.
So I'm glad you brought that up, right? Because I remember growing up and, you know, it was rough for us, right? It's a big family. I remember growing up and I watched my dads and my uncles work for themselves, okay? So when I'm young, I don't see the struggles of business. I don't know how much money and bills they have to pay, how much expenses they have, right? I don't know none of that. But I just saw my dad going to work, you know? Apparently he worked every day, right? He did work every day. I watched him work every day. But apparently he didn't work every day for no reason. As a kid, that didn't make sense for me. I'm going to have fun at work, okay? But he's working 7 days a week, all right? So as I'm starting to grow up, I'm seeing these cars. I'm seeing like this glamour over here, like big houses. I'm attracted to big houses. I like big houses.
Yeah.
Right? I like big houses and I like a house, okay, like on a big farm. Like just a ranch.
Yeah.
And a nice house with a wraparound porch. This is all in my head, ingrained in my head, okay? So that's what I like now. But back then I just liked big mansions. It didn't matter where they were. Just like if it was in a neighborhood, like I used to watch MTV Cribs.
Yeah.
So they used to show these houses of these superstars, and I'm like, bro. And then they would show the cars, and so I was attracted to that, and I wanted that. Okay, I didn't know what it took to get that. All right, and so that was around, you know, in the city, you know, in Beverly Hills, big mansion, Lamborghinis, Ferraris. I wanted a Ferrari. That's what I wanted, right? I wanted a Ferrari. I wanted a Lamborghini. I wanted one of each. And so as I started getting older, my eyes started opening up. Like, this is not easy. You know, and I remember I would argue with my dad in a good way, like debate. And I would tell him, I'm like, I'm going to have a store, I'm going to have a business, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. And I'm going to have X amount of dollars. And he would always tell me it's not easy. He said, it looks easy to you until you do it, is what he told me. It didn't make sense. It went in one ear, came out the other, right? I was a rebellious kid. I was very rebellious, okay? If you know me now, you probably won't think that.
Yeah.
Right? But I was very rebellious. And so as I was getting older, I started saying, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I'm going to show you. I started saying it, right? And so at about 16 years old is when I decided that I'm going to work for myself, and I got a license, right? My dad still helped me out a little bit, but I started working on the streets, right? Some people are like, what do you do on the streets, Mo? Right? I was a street vendor. So I would buy clothes from companies, or I would buy comforters or rugs, shoes, and I would just take them, buy them wholesale, and retail them. Okay? Because that's what my dads and uncles did. My dad and my uncles did when they came to America.
Yeah, sell on the street.
Selling on the street. They were street vendors, right? Everything was just like a brick and mortar store, but it was out of a van. Same way, but it was out of a van. Some people, when they say street, hear street, they're thinking, the worst, drugs and all this stuff, right?
Posted up on the block.
Posted up on a block, right? I was posted up on a block with some tennis shoes. That's what I was, And so at first I was young. I was hot-blooded. You know what I'm saying? I was hot-headed. And so it was me just going out there, I would see some success a little bit. And that was when I was in high school, And so I started buying and taking some of the clothes from my dad's store also and selling it in school. And I started buying phones in school and selling it to people. And I started buying phones off the street from people that got rid of their phone, because what I figured out was I live in Carville, right? I live in the suburbs. And so what I figured out was these kids are getting phones every year. So I started buying their old phones. And I would sell them to somebody that needs a phone.
Yeah.
And so that was my way of getting into it. It was like in middle school selling Cheetos. I would take a bunch of Cheetos, sell them. That's what I would do, right? That was a game. That was fun until I hit the streets, right? When I hit the streets, after 6 months, it became oh, snap, this is not a joke. This is not easy, right? And so I was still chasing the dollar. I'm chasing the dollar. But the thing is, people don't understand the dollar keeps moving. The dollar does not stop. Money does not stop. Money does not sleep. I always try to tell people that. Money does not sleep, and money does not quit moving. And money does not have feelings. Okay? It doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't care how tired you are. It doesn't care what you think. It's going to keep moving. If you don't get it, somebody gets it. Okay? And so my mindset was negative at first because I saw the hardships.
Yeah.
Right? And then I kept working, and I kept working, and I kept working. I'm 28 now, so I've been working for myself 14 years. Okay? Is that right math? No, 12 years. I've been working for myself 12 years. Okay? And so the harder I worked, the more selfish I became. The less empathy I had, sympathy I had. Because I realized how hard it was. And I realized all this stuff on TV that I saw, it was not fake, right? Not necessarily because these folks went out and worked for it, but it was not. I always say, the recipe is simple, but it's not easy, right? The recipe is simple. You go out and work, but it was not easy. And it finally clicked in my head years later what my dad told me. And then it went from me wanting all these nice stuff to, no, I don't care about that. Right? Because you worked hard for that dollar, so you don't want to release that dollar for some, $500 jeans or $300 Jordans.
Yeah.
I quit wearing nice shoes. I quit wearing fancy clothes, right? When I started buying it myself. I always wanted Jordans.
Yeah.
I didn't care for the Jordans no more. You know what I mean? I wanted the Rolexes. I'm fine with just a cheap G-Shock.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So now all that's going to come, right? But they make it seem easier than what it is from social media. Social media makes it look way too easy. you know, and they don't know the sacrifice. They don't know how much work you have to do, right? Like you said, it's like, say the quote again about the baby in the business.
Yeah, it was like if you want to relax, chill, and just live life calm, saying that you want to own a business is like saying I'm gonna have a baby to do that.
And what I realized once I opened my first business, I realized it's a never-ending process, right?
Process of what?
Of working on the business. It never ends. Doesn't matter how successful you get, okay? Now, the more successful you get, the more freedom you have. But guess what? You still have a baby at home that you got to take care of. You still have to go back and take care of that business. You still got to talk to your employees, talk to your managers. You still got to figure out how to push the needle, right? It's not like I start making money and then I leave it alone and I move on. That will never go away. The second you enter a business. Now, if you're an investor, that's different, right? But if you're self-employed, you own your own business, that will never go away. You always have it in the back of your head, always thinking about it, no matter what. No matter what. There's not a day that comes by that I don't think about my business. For the last 12 years. Okay? Yeah. So are you able to handle that? That's the question that people got to ask themselves. Right? It's not that I get a key. I see this on Facebook. I'm a self-employed, I'm a business owner. Congrats to you, that's a big deal. Right? But keep the same enthusiasm. Keep the same energy.
Yeah.
You know? Because it's not going to be the same thing when you figure out money just doesn't flow into the business. People think you open the doors, money just start flying in.
Yeah. There's one misconception that I had that like, it was like, you just got to, my biggest thing was like, I just got to open up a store and then boom, it's set. Right? It's open up and then people just going to start pouring in. And you're all right. Like it is a process like every day. Like I've noticed working at the academy is like it's a process of always trying to improve and like not just open up and close, open up and close, open up and close. It's not just that simple, you know? But what motivated you to begin with to like start like your business at 16? Like just start selling this stuff.
Man, for me, I like the dollar. Like people that know me close, we have like a joke about it. But I've been chasing a dollar for a while. Not in a bad way. People are like, well, you're money hungry. No, I know what the dollar can do. I know the power of money. Okay? Money is super powerful. Okay? It can make the good go bad and the bad go good. Okay? It depends on how you use it and whose hand it is. All right? If you want to help people on a large scale, you have to be a powerful person or you have to have a lot of money. There's no other way. You can be, I'm a jiu-jitsu coach. I help a lot of people, right? But if you want to feed the hunger, how are you going to feed the hunger?
You need money.
You need money, okay? So as I started growing up and getting older, I started realizing what money can do, okay? But I've always had a passion for it. I watched my dad in the business. Since I was barely walking, he was taking us to work, okay? And then as I got older, as I was getting older, my dad always told me, don't ever work for somebody. This was in our culture, right? And this was in our culture, but it was specifically in my family too. Like my grandpa said it to my dad said it to me, right? And our culture is a man that you have to work.
Yeah.
And as a man, you work for yourself. That's how we grew up. And I took it to heart. I ain't working for nobody. I am not working for not a single soul.
Yeah.
Okay? That's part of it. The other part is I was very rebellious. So knowing somebody's going to tell me what to do, this left a bad taste in my mouth. Yeah. So I was like, you're not going to tell me what to do. If I work for you, you tell me to jump, I got to ask you how high. Or I got to sit behind a desk for 10 hours a day. I'm not doing that either. So what do I got to do? I got to open a business. I have no other choice. My personality, right? If you know me, I like to move. I don't like to sit. I can't sit anywhere, right? If I sit somewhere too long, I start going nuts. That's why I don't like being on planes.
Yeah.
Okay, if I'm locked in somewhere for 10, 12, 14, 16 hours in one spot, I can't That's why I had a problem in school. I can't sit still for an hour, 2-hour class, 90-minute class in college, right? I like to keep moving. So if I opened my business, I knew that I would have the freedom. Now, I didn't know what it was going to cost me to get that freedom, right? Owning a business, wanting freedom, this is a fee you have to pay to get freedom. Freedom is not free, right? You have to pay a fee to earn freedom, to get the freedom that you want.
Wow, that's powerful.
Okay? People think that I open a business, I have freedom. No. You have to earn it. You have to work for it every single day. So I wanted freedom. By the time I got older, I wanted freedom. Okay? So that's why I got into business. My dad told me to keep going, to work for yourself, don't work for nobody. You know? And as I was getting older, I realized that if I work for myself, I can make more money.
Very true. And that's very interesting that you just talked about. It's you talked about freedom has a price, and freedom ain't free, life ain't fair. But would you say that, and now this is the next thing I want to talk about, is would you say before you can be liberated by your business, you have to become a slave to business? Because like in reality, like the thing that people don't talk about, which I noticed this when I started getting into entrepreneurship, somehow all these guys are operating on like 4 hours of sleep, right? They're operating on 4 or 5 hours, 6 at the most, right? But can you talk about like the reality of like working long hours, working long days, right? Like including like nights, including weekends, which is honestly like a lot of people working weekends, especially here in America, we've been conditioned to just 40 hours, right? Monday through Friday. And then you chill the weekend. And then you, again, Monday. And then it becomes a vicious cycle that eventually you don't find happiness in it. But anyway, or working weekends, right? People don't want to work weekends. Or even less holidays, you know? We've all seen, like, movies, right? Where it's like the husband is at work and then the wife is, like, on Thanksgiving dinner calling him, crying, how could you do this? Why are you so selfish, right? And, like, you think that's just movies, but it's more realistic than you would think, right? Can you talk about that, like, all the sacrifice, all the long hours, when it comes to when you first start a business, especially when you first begin it, like when it's a little infant, just about all the hours. And like you said, like your business will liberate you, but you can't just open up the doors and dang, now I'm free.
So that's one of the biggest things that people don't understand, right? Is especially when you first open, when you first start up. That's the biggest thing, because people think it's sunshine and rainbows when you open up.
100%.
Right? And if that's you, okay, even if you see success and you make money, there's plenty of guys that open up a business, made money, okay? But easy come, easy go. That saying is true. It didn't make sense to me, but easy come, easy go, right? You have to give everything to your business. If you don't give everything to your baby, was your baby going to grow?
No.
Is your baby going to be healthy?
No.
You have to give everything, attention, emotionally, physically, spiritually, to your baby. Business is the same thing when it's your business, right? I'm not talking about investments. I'm talking about your business, okay? Your startup. You have to give everything you can. There is no holidays. There is no family time. Okay? There is no friend time. There is no hangout time. Okay? There's no, hey, let's go for lunch. There's no, hey, let's hang out for dinner, or let's go to the club. Let's go to a party. Or, hey, I have Christmas. It's Christmas around the corner. I can't. Right? Some businesses boom in Christmas time. So are you going to close, or are you going to make your money? It's a new business. So if you're the guy that goes in and just doubles down and say, hey, I'm working all the time, I'm going to build this thing up, you will see success. Now, if you're the guy that's like, whatever, I'm going to be slow motion, I'm going to work 40 hours a week on my business, I don't want to be a slave to my business, I don't want to be owned by my business.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to have an unhealthy relationship with my business. So I'm not going to, I want to have a work-life balance, right? You're going to run into a lot of problems. You're going to get a very fast reality check. Okay? When I first started, bro, I was the first one there, the last one to leave. 7 days a week. Okay. Now I will admit that I lost a lot of people that are around me, right? I believe for the better. I didn't spend a lot of time with my family. I remember I had like a reality check a couple years ago, and I was looking at one of my family members, and I was like, bro, like, how did you get so big? You know? And it was like you need to kind of slow down on working. That is like a smack to my face.
Yeah.
Right? And there was no like hanging out. I didn't hang out with nobody. I didn't hang out with nobody. Okay? I didn't party. It was me going to work, coming home, going to sleep, going to work, on repeat.
Yeah.
Nonstop.
Did you ever have a FOMO, like the fear of missing out?
So I did have, when I was younger, I did. I was a young kid. I didn't know any better, right? You want to do what everybody's doing. I don't care how tough you are. When you're a kid, I was a kid. I was 16, 17, 18. Okay, I see 18-year-olds now, and I'm like, bro, I thought I was old at 18. Like, I thought I was grown up.
Yeah.
I look at 18-year-olds now, and I'm like, bro, you're not grown up. And I remember being 18, having my first business at 18. I opened my first store at 18, brick and mortar, okay? But the fear of missing out, yeah, I had a lot of it, right? But I kept reminding myself, like, it's going to be okay. Because one day you're going to get to live the life that others wish they can live. If I do what I have to do now, I'm going to get to live the life that others wish they can live. And I knew one thing, that for whatever reason, it was always in my head. I always told myself that if I can work now, just put in the hours now. Because I set a time at 35 to retire.
Yeah.
Long time ago. At 35 years old, I want to be done. Okay? Completely done. I'm going to keep working. I know I am. But I have the choice to retire at 35. That's my goal. And so I set that at 20, I think, maybe. 20 years old, I set it. 21 maybe. 20, 21. I set that goal at that age. And I set that goal because people kept telling me, right? People kept telling me, it's like, you don't spend time with nobody. How are you going to spend time with your family when you work this much? Well, when you're broke, what am I going to do? I'm going to go work at Walmart? I'm not. Me personally. Now, if you are, that's fine. That's your business. Me personally, I'm not. You know why? Because I'm going to have a schedule. I don't get to go to my kids' ball games. I don't get to spend time with my family the way I want. If I want to say, hey, we're going on this trip, pack your bags right now, we're leaving in 3 hours. I can't do that. But now I can. I can say, hey, let's go.
Yeah.
Anytime I want, I can say, let's go. Right? If my kid has a ball game, I can go do that. All right? So back then I started saying, I'm going to work now because in the future when I have a family, I don't have to work. I will have the freedom. I will finally have the freedom. That was just something I planned in my head. Now, I was lying to myself, right? I didn't know how long it was going to take. But sometimes you have to lie to yourself to make yourself see the bigger image, the bigger picture. Okay? And so people have to realize that starting a business, it's not sunshine and rainbows, bro. It's not. You know, like it's so mentally exhausting. It's so defeating. You know, I remember days I didn't want to get out of bed to go to work.
Yeah.
You know, and I accepted and you have to accept the fact that some days you're not going to make money. Some weeks you're not going to make money. This is where the people fall hard because they think every day they'll make money.
Yeah.
You know, they think every day they're going to make $200 a day. You know, or they're going to make $300 a day. They're not happy with $50 a day or $20 a day. Sometimes, bro, you gotta scrape crap. I told you this yesterday.
This is what we were talking about yesterday.
You know, if you are not the pooper scooper, when you start, I mean, you're in the trenches. You're on your knees, cleaning, fixing, whatever it is. If you're not in there getting dirty and gritty, I'm sorry. I don't see you being successful.
Dang.
You know, it's just that simple. It's simple math. You can't skip the beginnings. They say hard beginnings. Rough beginnings. That's true, right? Because of that, my spirit is hard, right? Because of that, I do have less emotion, right? Less sympathy for people, right? You've always asked me this.
Yeah.
Right? Because I knew what I had to go through. Right? Respect me, I respect you. Simple. There's no, he's going through. No. If you don't respect me, screw you. Simple as that. Clean cut. Because I went through a lot working. I was in the trenches. People think it's overnight. Like, people see my businesses, like, whatever. Like, look at Mo. Somebody told me yesterday, like, Mo, you're all over the country. You're all over the world. Get you a flight card. Somebody was joking with me yesterday.
That's funny.
Right? And I'm like, bro, it took me 10 years to get to that. 10 years. You know what I mean? 10 years. That's a long time. And I was in the trenches the whole time. It wasn't for 3 months, 6 months. You know? And so people that start up their business or want to be self-employed, they want to skip that part because that's the hardest part.
Yeah.
That's the hardest part. Yes, I have to keep working on my business until today. Until today, I have to keep working on it. Right? But it's not the same as back then. So that's one thing that people need to understand is you have to go through the rough patch. That rough patch may be 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, but you have to go through it until you build that foundation of your business. And then I don't want you to take off the gas, but I want you to have your freedom when you can and have fun when you can. You know, when it's a perfect opportunity.
Yeah.
You know, okay, it's an ice storm. The store is closed. I'm going to have fun today. Back then, ice storm, I went to work.
Really?
Tornado, I went to work. Christmas, I went to work. Thanksgiving was the biggest one. Because my mom we would have a big family dinner together. It would drive my mom nuts. I didn't go to Thanksgiving dinner.
I mean, crazy. But see, people are going to be like, why are you missing Thanksgiving? They're like, do you think, now this is a big question here. Do you think just missing one Thanksgiving, just missing one night, will it really make the big difference? Is it not going to make you break you? Why is it so important to not give yourself that day?
So people say it's one night, right? But that one day of working Thanksgiving, it hurts. It hurts your spirit. Because I'm out here working and I can be with my family. You know what I'm saying? I can be in a warm house, right? I remember one specific Thanksgiving. And my mom called. She's like, where are you guys at? It was me and my brothers. And we're like, we're working. Well, why are you working today? We have to work. We have to work, Mom. And that one day, I will never forget it, right? And we made some money that day. We were on the street. We were on the street. We were teenagers, okay? But we made some money that day. But look, until today, I will never forget that day, right? Until today, we were out there like, man, it's Thanksgiving. All of a sudden, just bam, just start rolling in. It was rugs. We had rugs and comforters. They just started rolling in.
Yeah.
Customer after customer after customer. You know? But people say it's one day. That one day, that made me more greedy. Right? Like, I'm not going to say I don't like talking about myself. I'm a greedy person. Right? Whatever you want to do, let's do it. You know what I mean? You want to go climb Mount Everest? I'm down to climb Mount Everest. Right? Economy is bad right now. My mind plays game, but I'm not quitting. Yeah. Right? So that one day kind of like left like a scar, right? And you know what that scar meant. That's like a wound, like a war wound almost. Yeah. You know? And so like those days add up because they make you, I believe, they make you harder as a person. I didn't get to spend time with my family, but maybe because of that, those days, right? Because it was more than one Thanksgiving. You know, we don't celebrate Christmas. But Christmas, like, it's a relief for us. Like, no disrespect to all the Christians or anybody that celebrates Christmas. Like, Christmas for us is a relief almost because we get to take off. Yeah. We get a day off, right? Like, these days, Christmas, unless you have, like, a clothing store or something, most people close. So it's like a relief, like, yes, we get a day off, right? But back then, that didn't matter. I knew I wasn't you'd never know, right? But I knew I wasn't going to make money. I still went to work. Those are the hardest days to go to work. There's an ice storm. I know nobody's coming to the store. I did it just a few weeks ago. But I posted and I said, I'm going to show this to my kid so he can see his dad went to work no matter what. It's just a mindset, right? Whether that one day would have affected it. Now, yes, people will say family-wise, yeah, that one day is important for the family. But now we're not talking about the family. This is sacrifice. That one day for work and one day here for Thanksgiving, one day for Easter, one day for 4th of July, one day for Christmas. Those one days, they add up.
Yeah.
You know, those days make you hard. Those are the grindy days. Those are the gritty days. You know, so those are the ones that build fortitude.
That's interesting. And then this feeds into the next thing that I want to talk to you about is pretty much like you talk about like the emotional toll that like starting up a business, you know, all the stress, the anxiety, the uncertainty of making sales, you know, the anxiety of, man, I got bills to pay, you know, the stress of obviously I want to succeed. Everybody wants to succeed. And then the importance of like your mindset during those moments, right? The moments where it's really not going the way you want it, right? And like reality is hitting you, right? Because you had these expectations of, man, I'm gonna open up and I'm gonna just be laughing my way to the bank, right? And then boom, months later, it's not like that, right? And now you're struggling, right? So you talk about like the emotional toll it takes on you and like your mindset so that it never stopped you, you know? Which I know you're not gonna stop, but that will exhaust people mentally and it will drain them. And they'll be like, man, let me just go back to my 9 to 5, you know?
So I don't know if I ever talked about this, right? Because I don't want people to feel. Is it empathy or sympathy when somebody feels sorry for you?
So it's sympathy when you feel bad for somebody because of something, and then you can't relate to it. And it's empathy when you feel bad because you've been through the same thing.
Okay. So I don't want nobody to have sympathy for me, right? And so I never really talked about it. I remember days where I did not want to get out of bed because of how mentally draining work was. You know? Until today, I still remember those days, right? So the emotional toll, man, I think it's one of the hardest things, right? But I grew up being a tough guy, in my opinion. I kept saying, I'm a tough guy. I don't quit, no matter what. So I kept telling myself this. So it's a mindset. Because the emotional toll drowns people. That's what makes people quit.
Yeah.
That's what makes people go back to a 40-hour work week and get a regular job, right? That is what makes people quit on their dreams.
Dang, on their dreams?
On their dreams. People settle for less because they can't handle that. And this is in anything you want, bro. Anything you want. The emotional toll, mental toll is worse than almost the physical, right? Because as men, we can do physical work.
Yeah.
Most men. We can do labor. Pick up things, throw them, you know, build a fence, whatever it is, paint houses, pick up concrete, unload trucks, load trucks. I remember having to load and unload trucks, right? I remember one story where I had stitches in my leg, and we had a mattress load. We had a mattress store, and it was 2 of my brothers. And my mom was like, you're not going to work because I know what you're going to do. I told my dad, I said, I'm going. Got in the car, I went to work. I'm going to just watch. We unloaded this truck at 3 or 4 in the morning. I told them, I said, y'all get out of the truck, I'm passing y'all the mattresses. I unloaded the whole damn thing.
Wow.
Labor, I can do it. Mm-hmm. Anybody can. Most men can do labor. But it's this. Because of this, people quit on their dreams. Because of their mind, lack of mindset, lack of fortitude, people quit on their dreams. They cut themselves short. They cut themselves short to be the best dad, the best husband, to have the best family, to do the best things for your family, to do the best things for your community. Because the mental and emotional toll that happens from all the hardships.
So what do you tell yourself when those thoughts arise?
I remind myself every day. Until today, I remind myself. This morning, I reminded myself. This morning. The process, when people think like when you own a business and you see success, it's over.
Mm-hmm.
It's never over. Until the day you die, it's never over. Okay? I remember back in the day, I was having panic attacks. I didn't know what panic attacks even were. I thought there was something wrong with me until I looked it up. I was having panic attacks. It was because of work. It was so much going on, I was panicking. I would lose my breath. The tunnel start closing in. I would, for me, I would sit outside. I'd feel better. I would have to calm myself down. Okay? But I remember drowning in my thoughts.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Like, bro, that's it. You're done. You failed. You know, especially when I was 18. When I was 18, I opened my first store. The failure caused a lot of anger. I was very angry.
Yeah.
I was a very angry person. And it's because I failed. I lost. My dreams got shut down. Right? And I wallowed in them for a little bit. And I was upset. I was like, bro, get your shit together and get back to it.
Yeah.
You know, that's it. I kept reminding myself what I want, why I'm doing this, right? And you have to truly mean it. We've had this talk before. When you say something to yourself, or when you say something, your spirit, people like most think go spiritual. When you want something and you say something to yourself, your spirit knows whether you're lying or not. Your mind knows truly whether your conscious knows whether you're lying or not. And if you're lying to yourself, guess what? You will never see it. You will never see it. But if you truly mean what you're saying, your conscious, your spirit, your mind, they're going to keep working toward it. They're going to keep you going, even if it's just one baby step at a time.
Yeah.
You're going to keep working toward it. And I told somebody this. I woke up until today. I wake up sometimes, right? Because when I say wake up, like day-to-day life gets in the way. I wake up and I feel like I'm in a dream. I have the academy of my life.
Yeah.
I have the friends of my life. Right? So you wake up one day and you're like, man, I've covered this much ground because I decided not to quit, because I decided to keep working. This is not a 1, 2, 3, 4 year process. For some people, it's 5 years. For some people, it's 10 years. Now, have people done it quicker? Yeah, they have. But this is a marathon. This is not a sprint. Business is a marathon, not a sprint. Self-employment is a marathon, not a sprint. You're in it for the long run. And on the other side of it is freedom.
That's very powerful. And then, because you definitely see people chasing their dreams, chasing money, right? But now this leads into the other thing I want to talk about. Because you said your business failed at 18, right? Your first business, right? So I want to talk to you about like the resilience and persistence. Because when, like the old saying goes, you know, if at first you don't succeed, try and try again. Like we talk about like the importance of like being resilient and persistent, because you, like you said, you failed at 18, right? You could have wallowed in that and man, this isn't for me, and could have settled, right, to a regular job, right? There's so many stories of entrepreneurs that I've read that there's one guy, he said he failed like 9 businesses before he finally hit one that worked, right? And then from what I understood from your story, you've always bounced from doing different things, right? Mm-hmm. Selling gold and all these other things that you've done, bouncing around. So it's like, you emphasize that like when one business fails, that doesn't mean that you failed, like that your dream has failed, and they just like reinvent yourself and try something different, you know?
Yeah, so a lot of people need to understand that like not anything you do is gonna be success. That's where, as humans, that's where we fail the most. And that's why I wanted to make this podcast, right? I want to talk about it, and I want to bring people that talk about this from their own experience. People think everything is success. People think your business is success on first try. People think if you want to be a basketball player, you're successful on your first try. People think if you want your marriage, you just see success right away. Relationships, friendships, right? Success right away. School, success. Like, they think they're going to just pass with flying colors in everything they do, right? As I got older, I realized the more you fail, the more you learn. Okay? Now, the way you look at failure is what decides what happens with you. Now, failure hurts. I don't care. Anybody, I'm not going to be here and be Mr. Tough. Failure hurts. There was something inside of me. There's something inside of me that refuses to quit. I failed in multiple businesses. I was on the street before 18, before I opened my brick and mortar. Brick and mortar. Closed down. It was not even a year. Negative. Okay? Negative.
Yeah.
Hit the streets. I started buying gold. Buying and selling gold. Started buying and selling phones, electronics. Hit the streets again. Started selling shoes. Non-stop during COVID. Fast forward years. They shut my businesses down. They shut everybody's business down. Guess what? Started selling masks. It's what you're going to do, bro. What's going to happen when you fail? That's the thing. The question you got to ask yourself is, when I fail, what am I going to do? What's going to happen next? What are you going to do when you fail? You're going to just lay over? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I remember telling somebody, I was talking to somebody, and they're like, you're going to fail, Mo.
Really?
Yeah, they told me this. And I'm like, please tell me that. I part of my success, I contribute to that, in my opinion. Right? There was a lot of people around me. For whatever reason, people don't like to see you successful. Right? And I was young. I was full of piss and vinegar. Okay? So at that age, like, if you want to try me, right? Not only physically, right? But if you want to doubt me. Right? That only motivates me more.
Yeah.
Because then I want to prove you wrong. Which I'm not in the game of proving anybody wrong no more. I don't care. Right? I'm going to prove you wrong by letting you watch my success. And my success is going to kill you. Right? But somebody told me that. And I told them, I said, if you ever see me, okay? No disrespect to the homeless people. If you ever see me on the side of the street holding a sign, ask for money, spit in my face. I refuse to lay over. I refuse to lay over. Okay? And I said that at 18 years old, 17 years old. I refuse to lay over and quit. And that's the thing that we have to teach people is do not quit. Your time will come. It's not going to be 6 months, a year, 2 years. It may take 5 or 10 years. Some people quit just a couple months before success hits. At one of my businesses, I didn't get paid from it for 2 years, 3 years.
Yeah.
Not a single penny. Now I get to live the life I want because of it.
That's powerful. And then it's funny because like you see it all the time on like social media, like the guy, he's got his pickaxe and he's hitting the dirt, right? And then he quits, and it was like this, just a smidge left before he hit the diamonds.
Yep.
Right? Or like guys drilling oil, they quit a smidge before they hit the oil. But that is super powerful. And it just goes back to how entrepreneurship is gritty. It's tough. It's not just the glitz and glamour. And like my personal experience, like I've felt it with jiu-jitsu. Like I felt it training martial arts. Like when I first, like you see Conor McGregor, you see all these guys, you see Dustin Poirier knock somebody out, you see all these highlights, you see John Jones, right? And then the post-fight speech interviews, they're saying this and that, and then they look cool. Man, I want to be that cool. And you just imagine that. And then when you get to training, and the next thing you know, you're stuck in side control, or you can't get somebody off from on top of you, which is from side control. You're like, man, this is tough.
Yep.
Holy crap. And then you go home, and then your brain registers, which I've noticed in humans. Your brain is designed to not like pain. That's just survival.
Safety mechanism.
Exactly, right? That's our mechanism, right? We do not like pain. And I remember you told me, you got to embrace the pain. You got to love pain, right? In jiu-jitsu, you go home, your brain registers, that was painful. I do not want to do that again. Same thing is going to happen in entrepreneurship. That was painful. I do not want to feel that again, right? But what was wild, though, what I was headed towards is it really is not the glitz and the glamour, like you said. But the next thing I want to talk about, right? It's not all glitz and glamour, and it is tough, but at the same time, it's like, how important is it to celebrate small wins? Because there's people who have very high standards, And I've been here before. Like, you have these high standards and you have these high expectations of yourself, right? That if it's not like the biggest goal that you wanted, you're not happy, but it's an unhealthy way. In a sense that instead of, oh, I didn't reach what I wanted to make this month, that's going to motivate me more. You're like, dang, I'm a failure. I suck. This isn't for me, right? This is, you just start talking negative to yourself. So how important is it to celebrate small wins, in entrepreneurship, especially starting on? Obviously, you're not going to pat yourself on the back, right? Like, hey, congratulations, right? You worked 8 hours on the business today. But how important is it to celebrate just the small victories and accomplishments along the way?
So that's a good question, okay? Because some people start celebrating too early, in my opinion. Okay? So you have to know when to celebrate. I'm the kind of person, I'm extremely hard on myself, right? There's always one more for me. There's always something I can do better. There's always more, right? And so for me, it almost seems like I keep my goal far away from me. I hit my goal, there's another goal. I want that one. I get to that one, I want the next one. So growing up, there was no pat on the back. The job is not done. Do you have the farm that you want? This is when I was growing up. Do you have the farm you want? Do you have the car you want? Do you have the things that you said you're going to do? No? Okay, keep going. Even if it was a little success. When I opened my first, when was that? I was 20 years old. I opened my second brick and mortar store. Okay? I saw success in that, thank God.
Yeah.
Right? I was not satisfied. I was not satisfied. Okay? When I first opened it, barely any merchandise. By the fast forward years, there was nowhere to walk from how much merchandise I had.
Dang.
And it was still not enough. There was no pat on my back. There was no, hey, good job. Right? But I think that benefited me personally. Right? Because I always wanted to push the needle. I always wanted more and more and more. I always want more. Right? Now as I'm getting older, more is freedom for me now. Okay?
What do you mean by that?
So more is not materialistic things for me no more. So more is, for me, is the more freedom I have, that's what more is. The more freedom I can get, that's my goal. The more I can free myself from day-to-day tasks, from my business, to detach from it, because I can't detach from my business. When I'm on a plane, I dang near have a panic attack when I can't reach out to you guys. When I'm in a different country, I dang near have a panic attack. So I'm still very attached to my business, right? But now I do give myself, I'm like, okay, because of you did this, let's celebrate. Like for our academy, 5 years.
Yeah.
I do these parties on purpose. Every year. And I don't do it, like some people do 1, 3, 5, 10, or 5, 10, 15, or 5, 10, 20. I do it every year. Right? And every year, what do? Well, I'm sitting talking to you for hours about it.
Yeah.
Right? So giving yourself the pat on the back is a good thing. Right? These days, everybody needs a pat on the back. They believe they shake your hand, they need a pat on the back. Right? So I'm not going to say like I'm this tough guy, right? But rewarding yourself is good because the body likes rewards. The humans like rewards. So you correlate that with success. So when you see something, when you do something, you achieve it, and you reward yourself, then you're like, oh, I can get this when I do this. Let me do more of this. If I'm work more and I make $20,000, I can go eat steak. Oh, I'm gonna do that. You know what I mean? Or if I make X amount of dollars, I can take my family out. Oh, let's do that. So these rewards can kind of push you, right? But the flip side to that is, especially new, very new, like in today's time, I say like today's time. Like back in my days is different, you know? But in today's time, what I see is people start a business, okay? They start a business and they see money. Boom, 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 boom. And now they're eating out all the time. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, they're eating out. Now they get a new car. Now, they're like, hey, let's go here and spend X amount of dollars. Let's buy these clothes. Let's buy these watch. So for them, it's like, I'm rewarding myself. No, bro, you're not rewarding yourself. You're splurging. You're getting ahead of the carriage is getting ahead of the horse. The wagon is getting ahead of the horse. So people sometimes blur the lines between rewarding themselves and going overboard and just start spending money.
Yeah.
And
why is this detrimental for you?
This is detrimental because you haven't built anything yet.
Well, what another thing is, what if they get something where they're like, I feel comfortable, right? In the good economy, right? I guess the money is steady, the cash flow is steady. Why is it bad to just kind of rest on your laurels?
Well, the thing is, you have to understand is in business, anything can take you out. Anything can take you out in business. It doesn't matter how old your business, how mature your business is. Anything can take you out anytime. Now, some people are like, what do you mean by that? Any calamity can happen. Look at COVID. I know businesses that were open years. I know academies, jiu-jitsu academies that were open years before me. COVID hit, they shut down.
Dang.
Okay? So anything can happen. Look what the situation we're in now. Family Dollar, Dollar Tree just announced yesterday they're closing 1,000 locations. 1,000 Family Dollars and Dollar Trees are going to be gone.
I don't get that, though. That's crazy.
You know what I mean? So anything, okay, you can look at that. Well, some people would say, well, that's corporate, bankruptcy, whatever. That's not the point. The point is 1,000 store locations are gone. How many employees is that?
Over 1,000 easily.
You know what I'm saying? So anything in business can take you out. Now, these are corporate. We can't look at corporate. Corporate is on another level. You got to look at us, mom and pops. That's what you got to look at, the small guys. We are going to have a hard time. Okay? So we are the ones that usually, when business is hard, we're crying about it, right? And when business is good, we're having too much fun. We're throwing money left and right. So it's not good, even though like it's a good economy and you have steady income, you still need to have money put aside. Doesn't matter how good it is. You need to have a good savings account, right? And just because you have it, and this is the thing, like thank God I got separated from this. Separate yourself from materialistic things. Separate yourself from the validation of others, right? A lot of people, especially the ones that make, a lot of business owners, self-employed entrepreneurs, you get a lot of attention. You get a lot of attention. People know you. People are shouting your name. Hey, I know him. He owns this. He has this. He has a successful business. He has this. You're a Kroger. You're here and you're there. So people know you. So your head gets big. Right? The fame gets you.
Yeah.
Now you're buying cars, you're buying clothes, you're buying watches, you're eating at the most expensive steakhouses. Are you doing that because you want to? Or are you doing that because the other people are watching you? And you want to post it on social media. Hey, I'm eating steak here. I'm doing this here. I'm doing that. Now, I will tell you, I've posted that before. I've posted it. Hey, I have a successful day with my team. We're enjoying a nice dinner. Every blue moon, I post that. I don't show you the day-to-day life.
Yeah.
I don't care what you think. That's between me and my team.
Yeah.
Right? Those are good to show as a business owner, yeah. But most of these guys want to keep posting it nonstop to get validation, to get approval. Guess what? Those folks ain't going to pay your bills when business goes down. The nice cars and all this, that doesn't matter. Now, one day when you haven't made, and you know you haven't made, and you have money beyond the X amount, the bottom line. The bottom line is all this is much money you need to pay all your bills.
Yeah.
And have a little extra money. Now, when the bottom line is here and you're all the way up here, then yeah, enjoy it.
Yeah.
You know?
That's interesting. You do see people splurge early on. I remember I got into Forex and made money, right? God bless, because it's very hard to make money on that thing. And you just start spinning it like I'm a G, you know, I'm making something out of this.
I'm a G.
Right. And I imagine it's got to be the same thing in entrepreneurship, right? That you start spending money or you start splurging, right? And so that actually feeds into the next thing I want to talk to you about, which was the financial challenges that you can encounter in entrepreneurship. Obviously, you can encounter not making money every day, which is challenging. It's also like the people that spend too much money, right? They're making some money and they're spending too much on it. They're not reinvesting the money. So you talk about the importance of also reinvesting into money. Remember you mentioned that from a business that you you didn't make no money for 2 or 3 years, right? And like, was that because it wasn't profitable because you was reinvesting into it? And like how important it is to reinvest and to just keep making it grow and snowball effect and growing. But the other thing which you highlighted is like anything can take you out. Like you think about like Sears. I remember when I was a kid, Sears, this place was like magical.
Bro.
Where's Sears at nowadays? It's gone.
Where's Kmart?
Toys R Us, that thing
Toys
gone.
R Us. Bed Bath Beyonds. Closed a lot of stores. You know?
And you know what's crazy? You think these things are too big to fail. You're like, that thing, they're making millions. They got brand recognition. People know them. How could they fail? They get complacent, right? So that's crazy. Think about it. Those big folks, they got big pockets. They got big loans they can take out. They're failing. It's got to be even more high risk for the mom and pop. But what are the financial struggles early on and like financial traps you can encounter like as an entrepreneur early on? I already know you talked about this a little bit, how you start splurging because people are watching you, and that's a big mistake. But what are some other financial mistakes people should be aware of when they first begin as entrepreneur?
I mean, there's a lot of financial things you got to watch out for, right? One of them is when you see success, right? Is the splurging. Especially, I notice it a lot with the guys.
Yeah.
Why they splurging?
They want to impress the ladies.
They want to impress the ladies. Dude, and I've seen so many guys, and I'm like, why? Why? Like, some people are like, Mo, like, you might, like, why you're like, I don't give a damn. I'm not trying to impress you. Me personally, I'm not trying to impress nobody, right? Because I work too dang hard. When you really get in the trenches, like I say, you don't care about that, bro. And when you detach yourself, you have to detach yourself from the worldly life, the material. You have to. If you don't, you're going to get drowned in this. You're going to drown in it literally with your money, but mentally, you'll never be happy. If you are attached to materialistic things, you'll never be happy. Right? So you don't want anything to do. I mean, they're good. We're humans. We want it, right? But you don't want to be solely attached to material, to clothes, to cars, and this. Right? So that's one of the biggest failures. When you see success, that's a failure, right? But the other failure, like, you watch out for is taxes. Like, keep up with that.
Yeah.
Right? The other, financial struggles that, like, is knowing when to, I talked to somebody, a business coach a couple years ago, and they said, make sure you pay yourself, right? You need to pay yourself. That's like your reward. We talked about pat on the back or, that's your reward, is paycheck. At the end of the day, the paycheck is the biggest reward. For any entrepreneur, self-employed, the paycheck is the biggest reward. Now, the thing is with that, the paycheck can get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. The better you get, the more you get, the more successful you see, right? And so when I started off one of my new businesses, I kept reinvesting it into the business, kept putting it back in the business, right? At first, there was no money, no profit. So I didn't have a choice. But after that, I'm like, all right, let me build it up to make sure it's super strong so nothing happens. And guess what happened? Smack to the face. Pow. COVID.
Dang.
And I was like, thank God I did not pull no money. Right? But I had the capability because I worked in another job.
Yeah.
I had another business I was building. So I was able to get by. But then I made a pivot. I entered another business during that time, which helped me. Right? I didn't just sit there and whoop and cry about not making money. I switched it up to something new. Right? So the financial part, man, is like the struggles that you find is like you find it everywhere. Whether you have a job or you own your own company, is making ends meet. Mm. Right? There's people that have 40-hour work weeks or the jobs they want, and then they can't make ends meet. So the biggest financial struggles is making ends meet. But when you own your own business, and that's when we talk about brick and mortar or any kind of business, really, you got to talk about, your rent. You got to pay for the business, the electricity, utilities, POS system. If you got employees, you got to pay the employee. Whether you like it or not, you got to pay them.
Yeah.
Whether you're making money or not, you got to pay them. Taxes. You know what I mean? Merchandise. All this you have to come up with. Say if you have a business, $5,000 a month is your expenses to run this business. You have to come up with $5,000 a month no matter what. No matter what.
Yeah.
And it was funny. I remember opening up a business and I had no money. But I learned this trick. So I'm giving you guys this trick. It's not a trick. People probably know it. So you write a check. Okay?
Yeah.
So you write a check and you put it in the mail. By the time they get it 20 days, sometimes later. If you just take it and put it in like a U.S. Postal Office box, not at the office. Like they have these boxes at like Kroger or whatever.
Yeah.
Just take it, wait a few days. They'll call you, hey, you have the money? Yeah, I just dropped it off. Drop it off a few days later. Okay? Drop it off a few days later. It takes a few more days for them to finally get it, go through it, file it, send it back off to the company. You just bought yourself 15 days, 20 days sometimes. So you don't have the money, but you wrote the check. By the time that happens, the money's in the bank, check clears.
Ah, that's sneaky. That's nice.
You know what I mean? So I learned that trick, right? It's not the biggest trick, but it's a trick. You're gonna hate, because a lot of people say, can you wire me this money? I have checks. Can I send you a check? Or, hey, can you wire me this money? No, I'll put a check in the mail tomorrow for you.
Okay.
You just bought some time.
That's super interesting. That's funny.
You know what I mean?
It goes back to entrepreneurship. It's always about, it's a mind game. It's all about with the mind. Like, I see the Academy all the time. You cannot just stay still and keep run-of-the-mill things always, because then it's kind of like still water. If it's just there, then boom, it's going to die. It's going to turn bad. But super powerful. But there's a thing, when it comes to personal finance, they always say pay yourself first. When you own a business, do you pay yourself first or do you pay yourself last?
So this one, everybody has a different opinion. I have a business coach that told me pay yourself first. Right? But the truth is, I'm the guy paid myself last. How am I going to pay? For example, I have little Johnny working with me. How am I going to get paid and not pay him?
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. It's not possible. Little Johnny's going to quit. So I don't have a choice but to be paid last. Right? But you have to take in a serious account to pay yourself.
Yeah.
You have to. Right? Because what happens also as a business owner, you kind of forget. You don't forget, but you kind of put it off to the side. Right? So, yeah, I pay myself last. It's because I make sure everybody in front of me is paid. I have to make sure my team is taken care of. Then I get paid. If I don't get paid the dollar amount that I want, I don't get paid the dollar amount I want. We got to do something. We got to change something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's very interesting. But check this out. So a lot of people, like we had Mr. Hisham, he came by. He went from his corporate job, but he's making decent money, to get a pay cut, right? But he's doing what he likes. Why would somebody take a pay cut to pursue entrepreneurship? What is it in entrepreneurship that you would take on more stress, take on more anxiety, take on more financial burden, make less money, you know, all these things, like get greedy. Why is entrepreneurship worth it, right? When you could just live comfortable at home with your job, you know what to expect, you know what's expected of you. Why entrepreneurship? Why does it attract so much people, and why is it worth it despite all these trials and tribulations?
I'll give you one example. I'm going to use you, right? You run my academy. You run our academy, right? And so we're chill. You agree?
Yeah.
You're going out of town in a few weeks. Okay, go. If you work somewhere else, what do you have to do?
You gotta ask way ahead.
You gotta ask, can I do this? Oh no, we're short staffed. You can't do it. But it's my brother's wedding, so I mean, you can still go. For example, if I worked and it was like my brother's wedding, if I worked somebody, they just go ahead and fire me. That's me. That's how I am. That's why I can't work for somebody. Or if I have my kid's ball game, and you tell me you can't go watch your kid's ball game, screw you, I quit. That's how I am, right? Now, is it selfish? Yeah, it's selfish. But guess what? I decided to do the work that I did the last 12 years to get to the point I am now, so I don't have to deal with that. So for me, it's freedom. For me, right? It's freedom. But the money has nothing to do with it. I always thought money was the end goal. You have to have money, okay? But money has nothing to do with me working for my own self. Freedom is why I decided to be an entrepreneur. Freedom is why I decided to work for myself, to be self-employed. Nothing to do with the money. The reason I decided to work for myself is so I can chase my dreams, okay? Let me take that back. The reason I decided to work for myself is so I can live in my dreams. Not to chase my dreams. When you work for somebody else, you're chasing your dreams. You never get to do what you want. How many people do you know that say, I wish I can do this? I hate my job. The money's good, but I hate my job. How many people?
Almost everybody.
Almost every single person I talk to. I hate my job. Now, it's not easy. I'm not telling you to go quit your job and go open up a business. I'm not telling you that. It's not easy, right? But that's why I decide to stay up at night. I decide to wake up first thing in the morning, early. I decide to keep studying, to keep working 7 days a week. Until today, 7 days a week. Because I want to live in my dreams. I want to have freedom to do what I want when I want. And in order to do what I want when I want, I have to do the work that nobody's willing to do.
Powerful. So the end goal is freedom.
That's it.
Freedom is the end goal. And you know what's crazy? When you think about it like that, there's a reality of this world. You know, here in America, we have freedom, right? In terms of you could go out, say whatever you want, and you won't be arrested. Russia, they'll put you in jail. They might kill you, right? If you talk bad about Putin. Here in America, you're just gonna have a shouting match with somebody at Dunkin'. But there really is a price to freedom, you know, because if not, you're just gonna be working 9 to 5. You're gonna be enslaved to your job. Maybe not enslaved. Some people think that's too harsh, but you're forced to do it, right? Whether it's one job or the other job, you're gonna be forced to have to work, regardless of whatever work it is, right? You're not free. But when you really think about it, it is a high price to pay. But at the same time, it's not when you compare, like, dang, I'm free. Like, I can do whatever I want. Like, that's crazy, you know? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the price is high, right? The price is very steep. But are you willing to do the work? Are you willing to pay the price to live the way you want? That's the question you have to ask yourself. It goes back to the same thing, right? Are you willing to pay the price to live the life that you want?
Yeah. I know Dave Ramsey has this quote. And it's super simple, but it's very powerful. He says, to live like nobody else, you have to live like nobody else. So instead of working 9 to 5, you're putting all these crazy hours. You're going through all the stress. And eventually, in turn, boom, now you don't got to. Now you're in a yacht in Saint-Tropez, France, just chilling, you know? But now this leads to the last question, which is the conclusion, is like, can you give some words of encouragement to like the inspiring entrepreneurs, right? The people that are in the shoes of where that you at one point were, right? They had this dream, right? And they had all these visions. They had the ambition, right? But as you know, the path that awaits you is a tough path, right? It's not just gonna be like the yellow road that Dorothy followed, and you just acknowledge the difficulties that they may face, things that they may see along the way, and then the importance of determination, of working hard, of never giving up, and that eventually you will see success in your life.
So my biggest advice would be don't quit. That's my biggest advice. It's simple. Anything you want to do, right? Doesn't matter what it is. In life, whatever you want to get accomplished or whatever you want, just do not quit. Every single day, get up and work for it. Every single day, get up and sharpen your swords. Sharpen your mind, sharpen your body. Every single day, physically, mentally, sharpen yourself. Okay? Because one day you're going to have to swing that sword, right?
Yeah.
And you want that sword to be sharp. And so that's the same thing. If you get up and do it every single day, you're getting sharper and sharper. And so when an opportunity opens up, you can take it. All right? So the biggest thing will be is don't quit. The second thing, it's simple, but it's not easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. The recipe is there, but it's not easy. The other thing that people need to understand is you have to be ready for failures, and you have to accept that you will fail over and over and over again. Failure is part of the process. Failure is part of the process. You have to accept the fact that you're going to sacrifice time with your family. You're going to have to accept the fact that you're going to sacrifice holidays. You're going to have to sacrifice leisure time. Friends, what are friends, right? You're not going to have time to hang out with friends. You have to accept the fact that you're going to have to focus all your attention on what you're building. And it's going to be a long road. Be in it for the marathon. Be in it for the long run. Don't be in it for just a quick sprint. Okay, this is going to take a while to build. But the biggest thing I'll say is, guys, is the harder you work, the more success you'll see. But you have to work smart. You can't just work hard. Okay? But as long as you keep working, guys, you are going to eventually get to live the life that you want. And the freedom that you're going to get is going to be worth more than all that work put together. It's going to be worth more than the grind, the grit, the sleepless nights, the stress, the panic attacks, you know, the lack of food, not skipping lunches, skipping dinner, not eating all your meals. It's going to be worth more than losing a few good friends, right? A few of the friends that you thought you had. It's going to be worth more than the days that somebody went to parties, FOMO. It's going to be worth more. The freedom's going to be worth more than all of that put together. So for those that want to be entrepreneurs, guys, it's not easy. It's super hard. It's extremely hard. But if you get to where you want, I promise you it's going to be worth it.
Powerful. To summarize what you said is don't quit. It's simple but not easy. You have to be ready for failure. It's part of the process. You have to sacrifice. And the harder you work, the more success you will see. That's very powerful.
That's it, man. So, anything else you want to add?
That's it for me. All
right, guys. I hope you found this helpful. We're trying our best to get you guys more information. And this is just a little snippet that I've learned over the last 12 years of working for myself and building my businesses. And I hope you have get something out of it. And guys, anybody that wants to start their business, any guys that have any questions, anybody that wants any advice, please reach out to me. I'm gonna try my best to give you the best answers. And if I don't have them, guys, guess what? I'm gonna ask one of my entrepreneur friends, somebody that owns a company, somebody that's in the same field, or that can answer that question better than I am, right? I'm not the end all be all, but I'm gonna answer it to the best of my abilities. If not, I'm gonna get somebody's help to answer that question for you. So anything you have, guys, any questions that you have, just shoot them, DM me on Instagram or comment on YouTube under the podcast, and we'll get that answered for you guys. And like I said, I hope you found this helpful. I love talking about this topic. Business, entrepreneurship is my life. It's my passion. And I just want to give back to you guys, give back as much value. And like always, guys, sharpen your sword. Okay, Sharpen Your Sword podcast. The whole idea behind this is to sharpen your sword mentally and physically. The samurai has two swords, guys. Two swords. One is physical, one is mental. So sharpen it every day so you can become a better person for yourself, for your family, and for your country. And I'll catch you on the next episode. You guys, peace out. Have a good one.